Welcome to Radio Fixer's channel. Subscribe for upcoming videos.
Hello and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to cover a few things. We're going to talk about the new upgrade that I did to that stereo single tracer. I'm going to answer some of the questions and comments. One thing I suggest pretty highly, watch the entire video. Don't bypass some area, since I will go through the step by step and explain in detail why it works, how it works, what you need to do to get a good result. I had a few viewers that they thought about what I put together, or they didn't like the schematic at all. They were very negative about that, and they told me I should stop making videos since I'm not teaching schematics. My friend, I made these videos for a brand new person who just got started like myself with no electronic background. So I'm trying to make this schematic or design, whatever it is, so simple that they'll just look through the part and to see how to put it together. My goal is not to train people who already understand electronics. That is not what I am really focusing on. I am focusing on a brand new person with no electronic background like myself can actually perform and enjoy this hobby. I always talk about safety in every video and why it's important to have the right equipment. All tests that you see in this video, as well as the other video that I made, it was tested in the daytime. In daytime, here where I live, we have a few strong AM station that they're broadcasting. At night, the only speaker that it pick up right in the front antenna and also the first tube is a Radio Shack amplifier, that little itty-bitty Radio Shack amplifier. Of course, that is very hard to find, but you can purchase amplifier, a strong amplifier, to get those type of results. I suggest somewhere in the bottom, select them up. What that does, it will notify other people who enjoy this hobby, and that's how you support the channel. Again, I appreciate you. Just stay tuned. I'm working on some exciting upcoming videos as well. You take care. Talk to you soon.
Since my last video regarding the single tracer, I had so many questions, so I decided to make another video to show you how this works or how it's performing, especially in the first stage of the radio. So I set it up like this temporary. This is the same setup that I had for this one. The only difference between this and that one, this one I removed the resistor. The resistor was here, I removed that resistor. Also I add this capacitor here to protect from the chassis. Here is a 3.5 millimeter stereo. As you see, there's three of them. The stereo jack that I'm going to use. Again, I did this so you can see, that is actually, this is working. The radio is already hooked up to antenna. This is about 10-foot long antenna. And so I set that up. Here is the ground side. It's hooked up to the chassis. I put this test lid here to be able to move it from the two pins to, and also the front stage of the radio to show you how it works. I'm going to use different speakers to show you how this is performing, all right? And if you have any questions, as I mentioned earlier, put it in the bottom comment and we'll be glad to answer it. This is worked very well for me. Thing I noticed in the daytime, I had much better reception than in the evening when I do this test. I don't know why, but that's the way it works here where I live. There are some strong AM station. Maybe in the daytime I'm picking it up much easier than at night. All right, let's take it from here. Let me install the speakers and we test this thing, all right?
Now let's talk about some safety issue. You're dealing with electricity. It's very dangerous. It can kill you, so be very careful, please. I need a few equipment that you can purchase it in Amazon
First one, you must have isolated transformer to keep you safe when you're working in the antique radios, and also variable condenser, or they call it variac. You can actually adjust the amount of electricity comes inside the radio. And this one, the dim bulb tester, you can actually build this yourself. You can Google it. There's tons of information out there. This is the setup I'm using on my workbench. Please make sure you know to use this equipment to keep you safe. Okay, what I did, I installed this Radio Shack amplifier. You know, it's pretty hard to find it, and they're expensive. But I bought this many years ago. We're going to start from this because this is what I showed in my last video. But I also want to hook up different speakers so you see how it works, how they're performing. So let's test this one first. So let's focus in the first section, converter. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hook up signal tracer. I'm going to hook it up right here, right after C2 from antenna. And also we're going to test these two pin on the converter, pin 3 and pin 8. So first I'm going to turn on the radio, which is already on. You see the light is on. I'm just going to adjust the volume. So you see the radio works, right? I'm going to turn it down totally down. Now we're going to turn this one up. Let me turn it on first. Alright, now let me share this with you. Now the single tracer does not pick up in the beginning of antenna that station that we were playing. You see this station? Alright, is not picking that one up, is picking up different station, and that is normal, you know. It pick up the strong signal. The purpose of doing testing this way, I want to see if the antenna actually picking up any sound. As you see, it's picking it up. So if I want to get that station, the same station here, I have to adjust the station to get to the same station. Hopefully that makes sense, you know, because you cannot assume you set this on a certain station. No, you're hooking up this directly to the antenna and you pick up the same station. First stage, it does not behave that way. Again, the reason I'm doing this, I want to make sure the antenna actually picking up a station. Hopefully that makes sense. So if you think you're going to do this, set this in same station, and here is going to be same station pickup, especially in first stage, that doesn't work that way. All right, hopefully that answers some of your question. So I'm going to move it from antenna. I'm going to hook it up to 12SA7 pin 8, and we're going to try also pin number 3 to see if we get it any signal. Again, it will not pick up where you set it up. It will pick up different station because that's the first stage. That's important. That's why I mention it again. So we're going to turn this up. Alright, I'm going to take it out of there. You see, as soon as I remove that, there is no sound at all. Now we're going to hook it up to pin number 3 to see if we get anything. Pin number 3 is not picking up anything. I can change the station. Let's see if we can pick up something. I'm going to change the station.
It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work,
you
or
see?
with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
Yeah, turn this thing down. So I had to use the variable condenser, change the station. Pin number 3 going to pick it up. Again, this is the first stage that worked like that. Now let's move it to pin number 8.
And an A+ with a better business bureau.
Right now
You
is
don't need to be afraid
number
of the
3.
IRS anymore.
We go pin number 8.
RA.com or call
You see, it sounds much better.
9861. That's 800
If I turn this thing down and turn the radio up, you see, is not picking up any station because first stage has not sent all those through the other stage. Hopefully that makes sense, right? Again, the purpose of what I'm doing, I want to make sure first stage is working. I'm not concerned about picking up the same station. I'm concerned of picking up any station, so I know first stage is working. All right, so I'm going to change the speaker now. I'm going to use different speaker because, you know, some of you mentioned this is very hard to find and it's expensive. Of course, the Radio Shack is not around anymore. Let's see if other speaker are going to perform on those first stage as well. All right, let me set it up and get back with you. All right, this is the Bluetooth speaker, so let's turn it on. I'm showing it to you step by step, so you see this test is real, you know. So this is on. Let's hook this up. See, it had all of them come with a 3-point. Majority of them want to hook it up here. You see, it picked it up. When I adjust the volume, the signal here in this one is not as strong as the other one. That Radio Shack is unbelievable, but it's picking up. Okay, that is pen number 8. Let's switch it up to pen number 3. You see, you also hear it. All right, do you hear it? So it's picking up too. Again, each speaker, the volume is different, you know, so, but I want to show you it work. Now we're going to change this one to different speaker. Let me set up, get back with you. All right, now we're going to use this permanent speaker. See, it's already hooked up here. I hooked this up to the mono jack. Since there's 2 wires comes out of mono, I hooked it up to here. Let's test to see this work or not. I'm gonna connect it to the power amplifier that I purchased from Alibaba Express. You can also buy it from Amazon, they have this as well. So I'm gonna, that wire from here goes to in, of course, this goes to out. Let's turn this on to see how it's performing. Okay, that's pen 3 is not picking up any station. All right, now let's hook it up to pen 8. That's pen 8. Adjust it. As you see, it's picking up. Not that it's strong, but it's picking it up. All right, let's change the speaker to different speakers. Alright, this is a computer speaker. These are still you can purchase. The reason I'm showing this for you can purchase it. That Radio Shack, as you mentioned, you know, is pretty hard to find. So this is just a regular computer speaker. You know, it has amplifier, it has a second speaker. Also, the good thing about this is you see the 3.5 millimeter stereo jack comes with it. All right, so let's hook this up to our system to see how they're performing. Okay, let me set it up and get back with you. Already hooked up to electricity, and now we have to hook this up to the other side. It's pretty simple. You know, I got this adapter, so this is stereo gonna connect to each other like that. All right, everything's set. That is pen 8 of the first stage. Let's turn this on to see how it's performing. See, the light came on.
Slenderman, can you move things in your mind?
Nope,
Did you read our minds?
I got nothing. Were you thinking of nothing?
It's picking up pretty well.
So, what makes you a superhero?
I can tell if you should repair.
Let's put it in pen 3 to see if it's picking up anything in pen 3.
Unit, Snyder can help. Get 0%.
I'm gonna change the station to see if we're gonna pick up any station or
Want to
not.
talk to me?
Yeah,
For lunch.
It's picking up. As you see, it works unbelievable. Alright. See, you can turn it on. So you pick up pen 3. It's picking up pen 8. You see, that's pen 8. Of course, the other stages will pick up, but I'm not going to spend time to do that because majority of the question was the first stage. Let's hook up to these two antennas to see if it's picking up or not. Okay, as you see, I hooked it up to an antenna and it's picking up pretty well. Alright, so I'm going to turn this thing down here again. Alright, I'm going to hook it up right here where the volume control goes to. Turn this thing up. You see, now it's not picking up any station. Why? Because I have to change this volume control variable condenser, otherwise it's not going to pick up. Alright, because now this is past tube 1, stage 1 I call it, antenna stage I call it, first tube. Now it's different setup. So now I set it up there. Of course, if you turn these things up, you see there is no station picking up. You might ask why? Because now we are past the first stage. Now the radio actually, by tuning, you can pick up a station. Hopefully this makes sense. Let me show you what I mean by that. Turn this up. We're going to change this.
Download the iHeartRadio app and enjoy
You see?
it while you do things. That's a good thing.
Now I'm going to turn this thing down. I'm going to turn that up. It should pick up the same station. You see that? Let me turn this up. You see that?
Steve Sands, a golf channel coming up. Quick story.
Turn this down. Alright. We pick up. Okay, that's the radio. I'm going to leave it on. Going to turn this up. I'm going to turn this thing down. You see?
Sandler goes, I'm going to go play basketball. No need to.
I'm going to stop
the
this.
restaurant's really nice, but it's not very far from the.
Alright, you see what I'm talking about, right? First stage, you have to adjust that to pick up a station. My goal again is to make sure first stage, the antenna section is working, the first tube is picking up, the stations. But I know when I move it past the stage 1 to another stage, I have to change the frequency to pick up the proper station. Hopefully this makes sense. I think first video is create some confusion. People, they thought they can keep that in the same station and it worked the first tube, and also the same work with other tube. No, it does not. So hopefully this answer questions that you have. As you see, it's picking up in the daytime. I have not tried this at night to see how it's performing. In daytime, it usually is performing pretty well. So my recommendation is, since these speakers are still available in the market, they're very reasonable price. You purchase it, make sure it has a 3.5 stereo jack, that you can do it this way. Of course, that is going to be our new single tracer. I'm going to install this in our single tracer, removing that resistor that was here. As I mentioned, I add this capacitor, to protect the speaker. Okay? Hopefully this answers your question. Again, if you have any other question, feel free to put it in comment section. But I suggest pretty highly to build this. I had so many viewers that they haven't built it and they're doubting my test. And my first question to them is, have you built it, and what type of results you're getting when you build it, so I can assist you with those. But if you haven't built this, you're not using the right speakers, you might not get a good result. Again, all these tests that I've done is in the daytime. I haven't tried this in that night. In daytime, for one reason or another, we have a stronger signals in AM station, so I can pick this up. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video and you all have a great day. Take care. I'll be honest with you, it takes so much time to make these videos, editing, uploading, and make sure there's enough information that it actually makes sense, if you want to follow. At this time, I want to take the opportunity and thank my subscribers with their uplifting comment. You always encourage me to upload more videos, since this is just a hobby of mine. Again, I appreciate you, enjoy all these videos, and you all have an awesome day. Take care. If you're interested to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and you will be notified when a new video being uploaded. You have a great day.